up, y'all? One thing that's been heavy, heavy on my mind is just the whole energy and the state of everybody collectively. They really, the people who run and control this world have really convinced us that the world that we are living in right now and how expensive everything is normal. Everywhere you look, people are just driven by anger, anxiety, sadness, depression, trapped in this in this cage of their own, but not realizing that this cage is it's the earth. Mother Earth has been put under a big spell, and we're literally living in a prison with just more freedom. Kind of think of it like we're pasture raised. We can walk on the grass and stuff and do certain things, but ultimately we're all being factory farmed. We're all being played. We're all being finessed. And if you think that working 2 to 3 jobs just to barely pay for a fucking studio, barely pay for an apartment, we're not even in the age where we can even buy houses no more. You look at the market prices of most of these places, it's all controlled destruction. I'm 29 years old, and like many other people around my age and younger, we're always thinking about, oh man, there's no way we're gonna have kids and be able to take care of the kids. I'm not just gonna have babies and bring them into a world that's filled with all of this destruction everywhere, unless I have my shit together. And me having my shit together, it seems like as we getting older and older, it almost seems like everything's just getting out of reach. It's harder to reach. It's harder to reach. For all the people who aren't born into wealth. Me specifically, I was born first gen out here in America, Bay Area, California, and this shit's stupid. When are we collectively as people going to realize that we are the inmates and we are being saddled up, rallied up, put into a corner? Even things like, you know, we've convinced ourselves that slavery is only something that happened to certain indigenous groups of people around the world. But yet, I see chains on all of us. You know what I mean? I see chains on all of us. And the moment that we realize that this is not the way that we should be living, the same way our ancestors have lived before the colonization everywhere, these motherfuckers really fucked the systems up, really disrupted the way of living. And it's a problem. But the question is, how do we react and how do we move and how do we actually work together to actually come up with a solution instead of just pointing out and you know, quote unquote complaining about these things. There's just no way that this is going to end well, no matter what happens. The whole part of the power and the structures that run this world have literally, you know, taken taken everything from the people, from the earth, the land, the resources, the animals, all the habitats. And we're still sitting here and not in our own way revolting. And then when I say revolting, it doesn't only mean violence and stuff, but what about organizing? What about strategizing? What about being able to put our differences down and coming together? And that's the hardest thing because most people are in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you're just thinking about getting by for the next fucking day, you know? And I have deep empathy with all of that, you know what I mean? As a kid, I grew up homeless, in and out the system, losing friends, losing loved ones, being poor as shit, being on, you know, Section 8, all that. And this shit's all a scam, you know? But how do we bring this awareness to all of us who are just trying to survive and make it, being distracted by all of these things, especially with media? I mean, obviously, social media can be influential in a positive way if we, if we choose to make that happen. But it's not. Entertainment is everywhere, and it's just distracting us from everything, and we're all guilty of it. But yeah, how do we organize? How do we strategize? How do we put power back into the people? One little thing that I think could be solid and just a good start is bring back gardens in the neighborhoods everywhere. Have um, you know, a collective group of whatever neighborhood you're at and come together and grow shit. You know, put healthy substances in our body while we're in survival mode. Because we know that when we're in survival mode, we tend to lean to things that are gonna numb all of the all of the ailments that come with that. But yeah, finding ways to make gardens everywhere and put vegetables and fruits if we can, if it's possible. Because the state of the world being so energetically disrupted and low, leads to things like consumption of all this fast food, all this store-bought fake ass GMO processed seed oil ass everything, to the alcohol, to the drugs, to the porn, to the fucking, you know what I mean? The list goes on and on, to the sports. Don't get me wrong, sports has its thing and its place, but at the end of the day, it's a distraction, and most of this shit's all rigged anyways for money. But we have to bring awareness into ourselves somehow, some way, and we have to be able to be, wherever you are in your world and your community, that pillar of strength, and literally trying to expand this awareness, because this is not how life is supposed to be. This is not how life was before this. And the powers that be are not going to give any of that back. The more and more we give an inch, the more and more they take a million feet, you know? And it's on us to be responsible for ourselves and each other now. None of that we looking for politicians and lobbyists, bankers, and influencers, celebrities. They don't give a fuck about any of us people. And the minute that we realize that, and the minute that we can put our differences down and understand that we're all being fucked, then we may be able to do something about it. You know, because this life that we're living in is a cage. It's a prison, and it's going nowhere. It's going nowhere. We have a very short life to live, and we might as well do what we can for ourselves and for the generations that are gonna come after this, and for the earth herself and all that she fucking embodies and holds for all of us to be here. So, things like gardens bring back healthy foods into the neighborhoods. Um, People who have, um, the resources to get land. Someone, everywhere try to get little plots of land. Have people who have so many different skills come together and work together and make it a communal thing again, living in a village, um, because that's what most of our ancestors did. The way of surviving was was with the help of countless people and being able to be held by others. You know, so yeah, we're isolated, and once we realize that, you start realizing that we're not like the problems that we're facing is not just exclusive to us. It's everywhere. So, I'm just throwing out ideas. Other people, y'all got ideas, throw them out there. But we're gonna have to be able to put our pride and our ego down and be able to look at each other and really think about organizing and strategizing. It is the only way forward because we're all isolated, we're all disconnected, and everything is individualistic, and we're all in this rat race individually. Now, if we came together, just think about all the things that we could accomplish. And you can do this without violence. And sometimes I think that violence has its place and it's necessary, you know what I mean? But why not try the latter first? Why not try maybe I said that wrong, but why not try to go the route where we just put power in our hands and we actually come together? There's, as consumers, there's multiple ways that we can do things, stop consuming certain products and certain entertainment, certain medias, stop buying certain things from fucking companies and corporations that fucking hate you. There's power in that. And what do you got to do? You got to do it together if you want to collapse some of these things. So, as the source, the energy, the God, whatever it may be for you, remember why we were here on this earth. We're here to be in harmony and peace with everything. We are not different from nature. We are nature. And the sooner we realize that this whole thing that's happening from a micro scale to a macro scale, we're all being affected, and destruction is coming for everything. So that's why they want you to reduce your carbon, right? Wait, last I checked, we're carbon life forms. So the minute that we can understand things like these little messages that they're always saying to us, and they don't want us here on this earth. They just want what they have. Money's not real. It's a fabricated part of our imagination. And we just play along like this thing actually means anything and it has some actual value. I mean, it has value, yeah, sure, too. If you're playing the game, but in reality and like nature, we're the only ones who uses currency. You know what I mean? Because it's control. Same way that politics, entertainment, religions, fucking class, creed, color, sexuality, fucking list goes on and on and on. So come together, people. It's time to It's time to make some shit shake. We gotta do this, right? Tell them we gotta do this, George. Tell them.